Hey, hey, welcome in, welcome back, Aries. It is Laura, and we are going to do a new moon solar eclipse reading for the Aries collective. And so we are kind of in between eclipse portals. We are at a very pivotal moment in the collective, and I do feel this eclipse really is closing out a cycle that began back in July of 2023, kind of closing out that Aries Libra axis connected to the North Node. And so this isn't just a fresh start, Aries. I feel we're kind of at a karmic turning point. We're kind of at a checkpoint where we are closing out old themes tied to the Aries North Node, the Libra South Node. And so this is where we're being asked to shift out of these energies. We actually shifted out of that North Node energy on January 11th. And so anything that you've been clinging on to over the past year and a half is being pushed, I feel, eclipsed out of our lives, right, with this eclipse energy. And so we're kind of releasing the shadow traits of Libra connected to people pleasing, codependencies, external validation. And on the same day as this eclipse, which is happening on March 29th, we're going to have Mercury that's in retrograde motion in Aries. It's going to leave Aries and it's going to re-enter into Pisces. And then it's going to immediately conjunct Neptune at that final anaretic degree of 29. And so this is a major eclipse of dissolving illusions. Wherever there's been blurred boundaries between the past and the future, I do think that's being eliminated. And so you might be finding yourself in some type of downward spiral. The Oracle card is the card of poised in reversed. It's a 48 card. And so there is this quality coming through, I feel, of like an 8 of Cups in reverse. And so I don't know if there's been resistance to surrender or resistance from moving on from a situation or a cycle here that really has run its course. I don't know if it's run its course for the last couple of years and you've really blurred the boundaries, but the 8 of Cups in reverse is saying holding on, unwilling to walk away. And so you're kind of blocking the path connected to walking towards your wish fulfillment. And so I kind of feel there is going to be a moment where these energies at play are going to push you to see what it is Spirit wants you to see so you can navigate through this portal with a little bit of grace. But right now it's like you're clinging, you're holding on to something that you really need to let go of. And so I kind of feel there's a protection message here for you, Aries. It's almost like Spirit is saying you better get ready because you are being called to move forward, and it's almost like you keep holding on. And maybe it's been okay and it's served you up until this point, but I think you know deep down inside, Aries, that there's something here that's just no longer aligned with your highest good. What are you clinging to? Is it the past? Is it a feeling that you're unable or unwilling to leave a situation behind? I don't know if it's nostalgia or fear of loneliness or fear of being alone or hoping that, hey, things are going to get better. But I think you keep pretending things are going to be better because you don't want to face the demands of a certain reality here. That's really what this is feeling like. And so I feel this eclipse energy, Aries, is going to be the deadline. You can't keep faking it till you make it. I don't think that attitude is really going to serve you moving forward. And you can't keep winging it because I do feel there's something here that's half finished or a cycle here that's incomplete. And I do feel there's been some avoidance connected to some type of emotional baggage here. And so instead of facing your emotions or making a difficult decision, it really feels like either you're distracting yourself or you're avoiding some type of confrontation here, or you're convincing yourself like, hey, I can change this situation, or maybe change isn't even necessary. But what I feel is a big message is there is an unfinished lesson here. Sometimes we can't see what we need to leave behind because there's an incomplete lesson. And maybe there is a lesson here that needs to be learned before you can truly move forward. I don't know that the cycle is fully complete. Or maybe there's a longing even to return to what was left behind. That could be an indication here too. But I kind of feel this energy, a very strong energy of being stuck in limbo. I don't know if you're hoping for a reconciliation or you need to just close the cycle out. I don't know if you're dealing with a back and forth situation where you've walked away, you've come back, you've walked away, you've come back because you're not really fully ready to detach. But there is a limiting belief here. That's what I'm feeling. There's a limiting belief here, almost like keeping you tied to a situation that really is preventing you from stepping into pure potential and pure growth. And so I think the universe is kind of nudging you towards evolution, but you're kind of resisting it, right? Due to some type of comfort, or maybe it's obligation. It could even be an obligation. So I think you need to ask yourself, there's that Queen of Swords on the cut. Ask yourself, what are you afraid of? The Queen of Swords, I think, is a moment of truth, is a moment of clarity. She sees the truth. I don't think this is about an argument. And I do feel there's some love here that's kind of been locked up. I don't even think this is about love. This is about logic. This is about truth. So I don't know if there's a third party situation here with that Three of Cups on the cut. But I do think it's kind of time to recognize the red flags. If something feels unfinished, address it, right? The Queen of Swords, she's not afraid to address a situation head on. Seek closure where you need to seek that closure. But ultimately, I think you kind of got to make a drastic move here. That's really what that's feeling like. So let's go a little bit further. With the poised in reversed, it almost feels like a tower in reversed energy as well. So there could be a breakdown. You got to think of this, right? Aries is vibrant energy. It's independent energy. And I do feel I'm tapping into a very karmic cycle here. And you need to understand the bigger spiritual lesson. So what else needs to come through for Aries? Keep in mind, this can be for Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Jupiter, and North Node. So apply it to any of those energies in your chart. But there's that Six of Swords, unwilling to move on. And so I don't know if you're trying to make things work. You see one man on the card. You see two women. There could be third party here. Bottom of the deck, the Five of Cups. And so I don't know if there's still a hoping or longing to heal something. I don't know if you feel like you're etherically connected to this person through the heart. I want to say it's time to unhook yourself, but here you are, you're holding on for dear life, not wanting to move on. And so there is a need to see a situation at face value, because with the Four of Swords upright and the Six of Swords in reversed, this is telling me that there is a Two of Swords in reverse here at play. And it really is this energy of taking those rose-colored glasses off, Aries. I don't know, Aries. There's really a very conflicting energy here. This Three of Pentacles, it almost feels like you keep telling yourself you need the support. Maybe you need the support of somebody that you need to break free from in order to heal. But I do feel you are transitioning, right? I feel so much resistance, right? And so I don't know if you feel like, hey, yeah, we can collaborate. We can fix this. I can move forward with this person. But then at the same time, I feel this is saying, retreat. This is saying reflect. This is saying you need to recoup mentally. I feel swords are mental. And so maybe you need to seek out some type of mentorship or spiritual guidance. This can also mean teamwork. But I do feel a very stuck energy here, because I think maybe you're not feeling acknowledged. You're not feeling supported on your journey. It's like you get the green light, you go, you stop, you go, you stop, you take the caution light here. It kind of reminds me of a stoplight, but it's all kind of jumbled. It's not really in the right order. And so it's like you rush in, you stop, you reverse it, you go back, and then there's this big caution, warning energy, Aries. And so I feel you're mentally exhausted from trying to make sense of a situation, trying to make sense of your emotions even, but then resisting taking that time to go within. And then that Six of Swords, well, this is a card of transition. This is a card of moving away when it's upright. But with it being in reverse, it's like a very uncomfortable transition. And it's almost like you feel like you're forced to leave, but your heart keeps holding on to the past, because the mind, I feel, is playing tricks on you. It's like you think spirit keeps calling you back to something because of some type of uncertainty or hesitancy, right? Because that Two of Swords block is saying, hey, you've got to look at this situation at face value, Aries. And so what's below the deck, what's hidden below the surface, I just want to say, is some unprocessed grief. I don't know if you keep focusing on what you're going to lose rather than what you're going to gain if you walk away. I just feel there's something underneath everything here really connected to hesitation. And maybe you do need help. Maybe you do need assistance, right? And so that's what's keeping you in a state of hesitation. There is a hidden sense, I want to say, of emotional dissatisfaction. I don't know if you're hiding this from somebody, but I feel mourning. I feel the energy of mourning or disappointment with something that hasn't gone the way that you've expected. I don't know if you've tried to heal something or revive something for like the last 4 years, but there's deep discontent here. Deep down, it's like you're holding on to the spilled memories, the spilled cups, instead of turning towards what's going to remain if you go forward, right? And then with the Seven of Pentacles in reversed, I think you spent a lot of time trying to grow something, trying to rebuild something. And I think this eclipse is going to give you an opportunity to plant a new seed, right? And so you could be watering a dead tree here. And maybe it's time to recognize your worth and your value, because I do think deep down inside you already know. You already know this is a cycle of lack and it's time to break free. Stop banging on a closed door, Aries. It's time to kind of go through this ending. And so I do think you're going through a rebirth. I do think you're kind of being forced to move when you're still maybe emotionally processing an ending. But there's fate here playing out, and it's time to move towards a new beginning, something new. And so let something die away, because I do think there's wounding here. There's fear of abandonment. There's maybe fear of financial security, of not having enough. But the Empress to the High Priestess is saying, hey, you're carrying a heavy emotional burden here, and it's kind of time to lay something to rest. I'm really feeling it's time to lay something to rest here. And so this transition is happening whether you're ready or not. I do feel it feels like you're kind of being pulled forward while you're still looking backwards a little bit. But this really is the true block, right? This is the true block. Unacknowledged grief, regret, maybe fear of moving forward because of having to face an emotional disappointment. Ultimately, Aries, I think you're at a crossroads here where you're healing, you're reflecting. You might need some support before fully stepping into the next phase, but you can't skip it. You can't skip the processing of an ending. And you also can't stay stuck here forever, is what I want to say. And so there is a very slow, methodical, necessary transition happening here. So honor your emotions first and foremost. You got to allow yourself that space for healing. And you got to trust that that's what's going to be lying ahead is going to bring forward a new opportunity, even if you can't see it yet. So let's close this off, Aries, with the Spiritual Journey Oracle card. And let's see what the advice is for this eclipse portal. What is this advice for Aries? What does Aries need to know to kind of move forward out of this situation? Oh, see, that we get the reconciliation. It did come out sideways when it landed on the desk, and we do get heightened awareness. And so I do feel you are intuitively sensing something. I do think that's the block, is you are hoping for a reunion. You are hoping for a reconciliation. There could be a reconciliation with a loved one on the horizon. That can mean so many things. It can mean reconnecting with a crossed over loved one that is a spirit guide. It can mean reconnecting with somebody else other than the person you're in this situation with. But because it kind of flipped out sideways on the board, I think that is the big emotional block here for you. There is such a tense dynamic here. That's really what I'm feeling. Man, it's like so much emotional resistance to moving on, first and foremost. Even when you know something isn't serving your highest good, you intuitively know this. And I do think you know that something is shifting below the surface here. And I do think this is connected to your greater purpose here, that you are being encouraged to embrace this lifetime, because the Three of Pentacles can be your greater purpose. But I just feel this is the block. This reconciliation card is saying you are hoping so deeply for things to be restored rather than truly moving forward. And so this hope for this reunion actually becomes your block, right? This desire for teamwork, this desire to rebuild, this desire to collaborate, I feel is all tied into this reconciliation card. And there could be a block of this belief that you need this person in order to move forward or to heal. And when we need somebody, that creates a codependency, right? When our mind is consumed by longing for a reconciliation or a reunion, it really disrupts the healing period and it does prevent that true clarity. And so I just feel there's hope and longing for this connection to be restored. You keep looking backward, you keep going back, which is basically ultimately slowing the death, the rebirth, and the transition process. And so this fixation, I want to say, on a reunion is really preventing a full acceptance of you being in the present moment. And I do think it really kind of hinders the processing of the emotional dissatisfaction that's already present. It's already there. And so I don't know that a reconciliation is actually the solution to this. It might just give you temporary relief from dealing with the deeper emotional wounds. And I do feel this heightened awareness card is basically telling you, hey, you got to recognize that this longing for this reunion is a block itself. It's not just the lack of reunion, it's the longing that's the block. And so when you become aware of this, then you can step into a place of being fully empowered. Sorry about the dog barking. She didn't like that either. But when we step into a place of empowerment, Aries, rather than waiting on external circumstances to dictate what's good for us or to dictate our emotional state, that's when we can really step into the shift, right? And so it doesn't mean that reconciliation is impossible, but I do think right now true healing is going to come from releasing this situation, releasing this person, releasing attachment to any kind of outcome. Because if the universe intends for two people to be together and reunite, it will happen in divine timing. But right now, this holding on, this longing, it's keeping you in a loop, in a very karmic loop here. And it's preventing you from moving forward. And so I think the reading is really clear for me. I do think there's a clear call to shift your focus. Stop fixating on a reconciliation. That's not going to be the answer to your healing journey. You got to embrace the deeper awareness that healing is a process of self-discovery. And that's what's truly going to bring you peace, I feel. So you don't have to rush forward, and it doesn't look like you're rushing forward at all. But you got to stop waiting for something to turn around. You got to stop hoping for a reunion, and you got to trust that if it's meant to happen, it will happen. But right now, I think your path is unfolding exactly as it's meant to be, and you need to trust that.